getting darker and darker, and there's just no way right now for these drivers to know exactly what's going to happen.
These guys are going to have to be really, really careful and tiptoe around the track until it's either
and not even 10 minutes into this race, and I feel like we've got enough strategy going on for a whole event, but still a long, long way to go.
There's Yellowstone, there's Yosemite, but for racing fans and for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic, the destination is Road America, the National Park of Speed. Free wide in the front of the field here. Look at Emil Tab up the inside for the race lead. We head down to the first corner.
Have no idea what they're coming into. Look at this field. They're 2 wide, 3 wide, a couple places slipping.
Side by side for the race lead. 54, 48 through 3 and 4. Working lap number 60, 110 laps to go. Yusuf Ghali power move to the bottom of the racetrack, making the short way work. They're going to touch down the hill. This will be a great run for Fuller here.
Yeah, typically ran off the track in the final quarter. That'll have Fuller get a massive.
Here he comes.
Oh, big block here by Sanfilippo. Into the grass goes Ben Fuller for turn 1. And Sanfilippo hangs on. He's loose. No! And he crashes hard in the exit of turn number 2. Don't try him here, boys. They're going to do it. Gritsko backs out. They touch. They're going to crash. Gritsko going to slam the attenuator hard into the wall. And Jared Tesson hits him as well. And big damage on these cars.
Huge. Number 4, people are struggling for grip. Going out of every single lane. Trying to then run. It's getting really insane.
Powered by AWS for the Intercontinental GT Challenge, powered by Pirelli at the Indianapolis 8-hour. We are 7 hours and 18 minutes into this 8-hour event.
John Miller way deep on the brakes to the inside of turn number 1 and 2. The spin, the 3 car gets turned around in front of the car.
James Howden looking for a place to go, but he's got Austin Cobb to the inside. Bit of a gap behind. I think that's about 15th or 16th spot as they come out of turn 3. Big slide for this.
Getting a run. He's got it. Going to be a drag racing line. Final corner. Checkered flag waving. Here they come. At Virginia National Raceway. To the line. Thompson, Darling, door to door. Banging doors. Fender to fender. I can't believe what we just saw.
Usually when you head to a short track, that means it's time for some action, and especially with throwing a short track in the middle of a playoff season, that's definitely going to bring up some anti moments for some of these drivers here on the track. There's a lot at stake. The championship battle is tight, and we may see some tempers start to boil over. We're here at North Wilkesboro for round number 17 of the Outsider Racing's 2021 B season. My name is Funi Kuna with a new name in the booth with me tonight, Emerson Arden. Emerson, glad to have you with me as we add most of the other guys that we usually have on backup and on standby. Everyone seems to be busy this Saturday night, but I'm glad to have you with me.
Absolutely, it's great to be here. It's Saturday night, and we're here at a short track. I cannot wait to see these Cup cars work their way around this fantastic, historic venue.
Indeed, and we already got some guys flying around the track as well. But just some quick facts about North Wilkesboro. Population of about 4,500 people. Constructed all the way back in 1947. Still waiting for it to get back on the Cup schedule. And expected attendance for the first race in 1947 was 3,000 people. I think the track capacity at its highest was I think around 60,000, 70,000 people. And again, really hope to see this track get back on the Cup schedule at some point in the future. But at least, hey, we're here in the sim and looking forward to getting down to some action on the track. Taking a look at qualifying at the moment. Got Zach Carr in the 37 up at the top of the standings, and not quite surprised with seeing him near the top.
No, not at all. He's won two of the last two short track races have been for Zach Carr, New Hampshire and Phoenix. And again, another flat short track. There's a little bit more banking here than the other two, but look for Zach Carr to, of course, bring the pace as he usually does. And then he's already have his half-tenth advantage in qualifying. We'll see if he can hold on to it through the last 70 seconds.
Indeed, looking at one particular driver that was standing out to me in practice, and that is the number 2 of Jeff Wright, was at the top of the charts in practice. We'll see here as he's going to be on his second lap coming out of turn 4, currently in 10th. Does he improve? 18.6. That will not be, no, it will be improvement up into second place. So the two car are going to be starting from P2. So it is interesting stuff, especially because Jeff Wright, he's got a bit on the line. I think 20 some odd points out, 26 points to be specific, in behind Zach Carr and Jonathan Hernandez into this round. And Jonathan Hernandez, your points leader after his great win at Chicagoland, took it straight up, just pretty much dominated the race, especially after Zach Carr ran into some issues at Chicagoland. So looking to see if he can take it away from Zach Carr, but Jeff Wright definitely going to be having my eye on him to see if he can try to improve.
We're watching Robert Gaba now work his way through 3 and 4, and Casey Lakatos working his way. He looks like he's on a cooldown lap here, trying to get up to speed before he's going around.
I think Casey's trying to practice a little drifting, I think maybe towards the end of the race. I know he usually likes to typically do something like that to get himself pumped up, but looks like qualifying is going to be coming to a close here. And don't worry, we'll get ready for your starting lineup here in just a little bit. But always having a race like this in the middle of a playoff, as I mentioned at the start, always going to lead to some moments. And, you know, what do you think with these guys? You were watching the Chicagoland race back. Fairly clean affair there. Do you think these guys might start to get a little bit elbows out after such a clean race?
You never know. I mean, there's a lot of lanes here, but again, you're wanting to run pretty much that second lane up off the bottom. So there's not, I guess, too many preferred lines here. Chicagoland, you know, big and wide, mile and a half, a lot of space here. The car count is not too large, so I don't think spacing on the track will be too much of an issue. You know, I don't know. it'll be quite interesting to see what happens here in 170 laps. So,
indeed, we'll also start to go through your starting lineup here. And starting on pole, as we mentioned, Zach Carr in the number 37, Jeff right next to him, P2, Ryan Carlisle sitting in the 71 in third, with Ray Massey next to him in fourth. And moving on back to row number 3, we find Casey Lakatos in the 50 car in fifth, with Bailey Turner next to him in sixth place. Moving on back in his 7th, we find Brandon Bowers in the 31, and in 8th, we find Ben Laughter. And rounding out your top 10 points leader coming into tonight, Jonathan Hernandez in the number 19 machine, with Caleb Weekly in the 10 car, rounding out your top 10. Also trying to look quickly here, see if there are any other standout drivers, notably Bryce Colusa, I think starting probably a little bit further back than he would have liked, starting all the way back in 14th. And also, I think I see some new blood, Ricky Williams. I don't think I've seen this driver before making his first start in the 11 car, all the way back in 16th. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. He can try to pull out something out of that, maybe surprise some guys tonight.
yeah, absolutely. And then making your debut in a playoff race at North Wilkesboro, that's got to be an absolutely daunting task. We'll see what he can do and if he can live up to a challenge here in these cup cars at North Wilkesboro. But it looks like the pace vehicle is rolling off the grid here, and we're about to start the first of 2 formation laps around the North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Yeah, let's go through your weather as well. Currently air temp 81 degrees, track temp 119 though, so actually just dropped to 118, so pretty slick out there for these guys, and gonna definitely have to watch towards the later part of the run. Once the tires start to wear off, you're gonna start getting a little slick and see these guys slide around, and we'll see if that's the only thing that's gonna be causing some of these guys to start sliding around.
Absolutely, they're going to be really fighting again for that second lane off the bottom. I think that's the preferred line we're going to see a lot of these guys try to get to, and 2 cars can't fit into one spot as they're going to start double wide. We'll see if that can last. We'll see how long that lasts.
Indeed we will. Working through the final pace lap now through 1 and 2. Everyone getting ready to go. It's 170 laps on tap for tonight here at North Wilkesboro. Again, some nice, good old short track action. Before we head to some of the bigger ovals to finish off this season. And again, it's only going to start getting more intense here. Points battle close as ever heading into this round. We'll see if it's going to still be close coming out of it. Pace car going to make the left turn onto pit road. Field in control of Zach Carr, and he's immediately going to launch, and we're green here at North Wilkesboro.
Right on board with Laughter. He's on that outside lane. He's going to be able to get these straightaways to be a little bit longer. He can get on the gas a little bit earlier in order to try to defend his position against Lakatos. Lakatos, again, with the preferred line and the shorter way around. We'll see how long this can hold up here. Of course, that outside lane will start to wear out the right side tires a little bit more as you travel longer around the racetrack. But looks like Laughter will get the spot cleared down into turn 1.
Casey Lakatos trying to defend from his teammate behind. Oh, a little bit of a bump as well. Lakatos maybe not already too happy with the 64 Ben Laughter in here, and that's going to open up the door for his teammate 31 of Brandon Bowers. Going to try to have a look up the inside of that Grid Life car, but not going to be able to get it done. And And then in behind, already still a swarm of guys, already still side by side. Looking at the 19 battling the 10 at Caleb Wakely for 9th place.
Yeah, last week's winner trying to slot himself into the top 10 and start looking forward at the potential halfway points that await him at the completion of lap 85. Ray Massey is up into the 4th position and is looking at the back end of the 24 Bailey Turner for the final spot on the podium early here in North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, trying to get that spot done, was trying to make it work, couldn't quite get it done. Bailey gonna put that 23 back in his place, back in 4th. And trying to look back at the battle that was still brewing in the middle of the field. I'm curious to see how long, again, with such a short track, these guys went caution-free last week in Chicago, and curious to see, it's going to be a much bigger task needing to go caution-free at a short track. There's so many things can go wrong, not necessarily by someone else causing it, but just, just throw it into the corner just a little bit too hard, especially, again, track is fairly slick. So a lot of things can go wrong for these drivers, but so far, nice and calm start to this race.
Absolutely, very slick track, very tough track at that. These drivers doing a phenomenal job of giving each other space, realizing it's lap 8 of 170 and not lap 168 of 170, and they're all driving with their heads screwed on the right way for now. On board with Matthew Close, trying to work his way to the inside of Caleb Wakely, down into 1. He'll get that nose down in there. Can he get the run off the corner right now? Wakely has the preferred line off of 2, and he'll get cleared back by the 20. So the 92.
Yeah, that run off the corner is so hard to beat. And you see Closel gets a great run on the entry of the corner, but again, the 10 of Wakely comes back on him. But I was looking at the 92. It looked like he was trying to move Wakely out of the way, and just a little bit of a tap in the bumper was able to send that 10 to the top side. But again, that bottom lane really hard to make something work. Might see some guys start to just get their elbows out and just completely drive up into the side of someone to keep them from getting that run. And Close, because he's still starting to work and it's kind of losing that battle.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, these guys, they do have fenders on these cars, so might as well use them. You don't need them anyway in a virtual world. Here comes Ronis trying to get to the outside here of Matthew Close and try to improve his position. Again, this is all going on outside the top 10, and they need to all gain a couple more spots if they're looking at some halfway points again in quite a few ways from now. But still something to keep in mind as the 29 does get the run off the corner, and now Cockrell looking to the outside of 92.
Yeah, Close. Well, it was looking like him trying to make a spot up. Looked like he's going to lose one spot, maybe even two, but Cockrell not able to take advantage of that. Looking, meanwhile, back up to the front. Bailey Turner is a man on a mission. Started back in 6th place, up into 3rd, knocking on the door of 2nd place. Do you think he might be pushing his stuff too quickly here?
It's hard to tell. I mean, who knows if Jeff Wright is pushing as well, or if Jeff Wright is taking it easy. But Bailey Turner trying to find that advantage, and again, it's going to be really difficult to set up the overtake if that driver is running the preferred line, which actually Jeff Wright is really running on the inside concrete, if you will, all over through 3 and 4. And I mean, Bailey Turner's just going to have to probably sit and wait maybe for a mistake out of Jeff Wright before he can really make anything happen of it. And in that time, he could eventually back up the pace a little bit and save a little something.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, how much these guys are going to push, and especially, push each other as well. Do you want to move someone on lap 15 of 170, or wait, later into the race before they can make something happen? But looking back at that battle of Matthew Close and Clifton Cockrell, looks like it was getting a little antsy there for a second. Cockrell actually going to end up losing one spot to Robert Gaba, trying to overtake him on the outside lane. Cockrell going to get a poor exit. Here comes David Knott Jr. in the number 4 machine, going to try to rock around the outside. That is a beautiful paint scheme.
Absolutely, the Crown Royal colors back in on a stock car is something I absolutely loving to see, and Mott will get the run and completely clear Cockrell. That moves Mott up into the 15th position clearly, and Cockrell will hold station back in 16th.
Yeah, looks like we're going to be in for a little bit of a lull in this race. These guys are going to try to work their way on through this, muscle through some laps. As far as pit stops, we're only really expecting one. These guys can go about 130, 140 laps on a tank, 80% fuel for these drivers. So don't really expect too much strategy in that department. I think really the biggest strategy is going to be managing your stuff, managing your tires.
Absolutely, you can go that many laps on fuel, but can you go that many laps on your tires? And at that rate, I mean, if it is an easy one stop, maybe do you push hard through lap 85, get your halfway points, come in and stop and focus at the end of the race. It'll be interesting. I guess that's the only strategy, is when you do make that one stop, And if we go green to the end, that could be the real determining factor. But it's a short track. You can't always bank on these things going green.
Yeah, you really can't. I'm sure there's not a single person in the field that assumes this race is going to go green. Also want to mention, too, these guys have only 4 tire sets available to them. So they're limited in how many times they can change tires. I think they're hoping that they're not in a position where they have to debate whether to get tires or not, because it's such a determining factor. I remember doing a Xfinity race here at North Wilkesboro about a few months back, and that was quite after we only had, I think, 2 or 3 tire sets available. And at some points, do you want to get that tire set? Do you want to use up that fresh rubber? And it's just a matter of choosing whether to save the fresh rubber for later or choosing to use it now. And that really changed up the running order quite a bit. Seeing some of our guys already starting to enjoy each other. 92 Matt Close and the 28 of Cockrell fighting for 15th.
It gets so intense back here in these lower positions. Everybody already not having the best of races so far, and you're not in the best of moods. And then there's just kind of cars all over the place, and maybe you feel that they're in your way, and that's where some of the contact deeper in the pack can really start to arise. And I've also done an Xfinity race at North Wilkesboro in the recent months as well, and it also limited by tire sets. The restarts, there was a lot of restarts, and that one, the restarts were an absolute calamity with drivers staying out of old tires and drivers behind with fresh tires. Man, I'm hoping on that situation tonight.
Yeah, I have to see, so far so good for most of these drivers, keeping their stuff fairly clean. I think you see some right side damage on the 92, but other than that, everyone's car looking pretty much exactly as it rolled off the hauler. Gonna look at some close battles going on. Brandon Bowers still stuck in behind the 50 of Lakatos. Thought they were gonna maybe switch each other around, maybe let Bowers go ahead, but Lakatos keeping Bowers at bay and actually starting to come under attack from Jonathan Hernandez. Again, your points leader coming into tonight, and this is exactly not what he needs. His main rival is leading the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Hernandez has probably got to start pushing here so he can put himself in a decent position again for that lap 85-point payday. And right now, 9th is not going to get him too much. He's actually would lose the point lead with that at halfway. So trying to improve upon that position, and he might be able to take advantage if Lakatos and Bowers get into it.
Yeah, I'll be really surprised if they get into it, especially because they're in the same Discord channel, so someone's going to be yelling. They're going to be directly yelling at someone if that's the case. I won't imagine they're going to try to keep their fenders clean, but you never do know. You never quite know. Teammate can easily tick you off the wrong way if they're driving a little bit too aggressively. Also, Bryce Calusa in the back as well has moved up 4 spots, is the biggest mover of the race, but it looks like he's hit a little bit of a roadblock. He's got 5 guys directly in front of him, but nowhere to really go.
Yeah, and this is the point of the race here. I mean, you're 30 laps. Your tires are no longer as fresh as they can be. You're just kind of riding and trying to force the guy ahead of you into a mistake, and that's really the only way you're going to be able to make a huge overtake here, because there's no real variation in tire life at the moment if everybody's been taking it relatively easy in this midfield.
Yeah, really, once you start getting some cautions and guys coming in for tires, that's really when it starts to change up, especially the guys that may want to prioritize the track position more so than the tire life. But Calusa getting very close to the back bumper of that 19, almost close to giving him a little bit of a shove off into turn 3. Will be nice to him on this occasion. But how long is that patience going to last?
Yeah, and again, lap 31 of 170, I'm sure that's going through the mind of both of these drivers, but Hernandez, I think he understands the urgency of just staying in that 9th position, near contact there at the center of 3 and 4, and Bryce Calusa, I don't think is content in that 10th position.
Yeah, and I think he should be, luckily he gave him the bump on the exit, but I think that's the warning sign saying, hey, I'm getting a little sick of staring at your rear bumpers, so something else might happen up ahead. Speaking of up ahead, I just saw 2 guys getting side by side. There it is, Ryan Carwell and Ray Massey duking it out. Oh, sorry, that's not Ray Massey. Sorry, that is 11 Ricky Williams being lapped by Ryan Carwell. It's currently 1 lap down, running all the way in last and 17th. Yeah,
and then this is truly his series debut and at a short track in the playoffs, all you really can do at this point, if you're not up to the pace that you feel you should be running, or at towards the front of the field, is if you're being lapped here, just stay out of the way. Don't make any enemies, especially at this point of the season. Just try to be a predictable lap vehicle. And everybody, I was a little choked up there out of 2, but everybody looks like they're going to work their way by the 11 of Ricky Williams.
You definitely don't want to be that guy in a series, and there was definitely one series, I'm not even going to mention the name of the league or the driver, but yeah, there's definitely one guy, he's not a really good lap car. It was more of a rolling chicane, if anything. As you see Casey Lacatas throwing up the inside of Laughter, we saw them duking out earlier in the race. Does it work better for the 50 this time by? Going to try to throw it into turn 1, but Laughter's still working that outside lane.
We've seen Laughter since the drop of the green try to extend those straightaways on that outside. I believe if you are going to make an overtake with the same age tires, it's going to have to come from that outside lane. But looking at that, he got very tight out of 4, and Lacatas will easily clear back into the 6th position. And now Laughter has to worry about fending off Brandon Bowers.
Teammate now up on the plate trying to have a look at Ben Laughter. Lacatas is going to see if he can start to drive away, move up through the order, but everyone getting very close quarters in behind the 64.
Right on board with Ben Laughter. You see Bowers really close up at the center corner. A little bit of contact with the back straightaway wall there. I don't think it'll affect the car a little that much, but you see Vedent there, right in on top of that right front tire. Again, it's a short track, especially North Wilkesboro. I don't think it'll be a huge hindrance to that 31, especially since he still is closing to the rear end there after. But,
the funny thing is that he hit the wall entering 3 last time by. I thought he maybe would have given an inch or more off the wall. He ran straight up to the wall again the second time around. So he's flirting with inches, but I mean, hey, that's going to make or break a lap around here. Especially you can see he's definitely worked from getting a great run through 1, trying to switch it back to the inside off of turn 2, but the door slams shut on this occasion.
Yeah, there's 4 lanes here. Might as well use all of them, especially if you bought the track. Use all the lanes here. Bowers will power his way up the inside of Ben Laughter, and this for the 7th position. Laughter trying to hang tough on the outside, but can he keep that car from getting tight out of 2? Contact with Bowers.
Yeah, 64 hits the wall, ends up going into the 31. Not sure the 31 knows that's on purpose or not, but either way, he's going to slam the door shut. Here comes Hernandez trying to have a look on the inside lane, trying to use the 64 stuck in a box, and Kusa actually looking to see if he can get to the outside lane of Hernandez. So a great fight here for the middle positions, all fighting for 7th place.
It's so tough because you feel that inside is the better line, but when you're restricted like that in the center corner, you feel you can't do too much. Like Ben Laughter has Jonathan Hernandez kind of stuck in that box down on the bottom side. You can't really wash up as much as you'd like on the exit, so your exit is compromised, and Laughter, of course, gets the run down the longer straightaways, if you will. They're not actually longer, but he gets on the gas sooner than Hernandez, but Hernandez needs to make this spot up, give himself a buffer to Calusa, who Calusa's now going to be dealing with the 64, and he'll get clear as well.
Yeah, and Laughter got really tight out of turn 4. I think he's starting to feel the wear, and the tires is not able to get as good of a run as he saw earlier in the race when he was able to work past Lacatas, but now he's starting to struggle. And there you see Calusa and Hernandez working their way on through. Speaking of Lacatas, you can see how much he was able to separate, and he's even got up to the top. He's knocking on the door to the top 5. This is a great run for Casey Lacatas in the 50. Typically good at the intermediate tracks, but starting to flex his muscles here on the short tracks as well, looking to gain some points. Again, he's a little bit outside the championship battle, 31 points behind Hernandez, but that's not stopping him, trying to see if he can get a one-up on Ryan Carlisle in 5th.
Yeah, Carlisle has been hanging there in 5th for a while, not really dealing with anybody, over 6 seconds behind his next closest competitor up the road, and he was kind of pacing himself. So we'll see here now that he looks up in the mirror once in a while and sees that Lacatas is right there. We'll see if he either picks up the pace or just simply lets Lacatas go here. But working lap 47 of 170, halfway to that point giveaway, if you will, for the top 10.
Yeah, halfway to halfway, and again, these guys are going to be keeping on their mind, especially the guys that are fighting for the points. Now, there's guys like Bailey Turner who aren't fighting in the points, and again, it is indicated on the left-hand side of the screen. Probably got to mention this at the top of the show. Left-hand side of the screen, the ticker, all the numbers in gold, including Jeff Wright. We still haven't fixed that from last week, but including Jeff Wright, are all the numbers in gold are drivers in the playoffs, and you can also tell by drivers that have blue accents on their splitter, on the windshield banner, and on the rear wing. As small as it is for this configuration of the car, but there you see Bailey Turner catching up to the top 3, all starting to close in once again. Here to see if we may see a little bit of a move here as Jeff Wright starts to close in for the leader.
Yeah, we'll see Jeff Wright to see what he can do with Zach Carr. Zach Carr, again, has led every lap since the drop of the green. Jeff Wright trying to change that and right up to the back end there, all over, trying to give a little kiss to that rear bumper camera there as they work past the lap vehicle once again of Ricky Williams. This is going to compromise Jeff Wright's entry into one.
See Bailey Turner also not too terribly far in the picture, and even Ray Massey, the Mustang, further in picture, and you can see the 23. He's also starting to close back in. So top 4 stretched back out, starting to close back in here as we're just about a quarter of the way through the race. But yeah, I'm trying to see if Jeff Wright, if he's thinking now he's got a chance of getting past Zach Kerr, and Zach Kerr maybe might have used up his stuff too much. We'll see. Or Zach Kerr is going to start to break away once again. But the top 4 all just pacing themselves at the moment. I imagine no one's really showing their true pace at the current time. We'll have to see if they're going to improve. But Bailey Turner running a nice line through 3 and 4. He's starting to get the back bumper of the 2.
Turner a little loose there out of turn 2. He'll lose some advantage, but he'll drive it hard into turn 3. And I believe we've also just lost the 11 of Ricky Williams, so these drivers will have to deal with the lap vehicle of the 11 for any further in this race. Bailey Turner still working to try to get to the rear end there, 2 of Jeff Wright, but the gap stays stagnant through the past lap.
Yeah, and again, this is something we were looking at earlier. You really got to wait until one driver makes a mistake. This is exactly what we saw with Ben Laughter. As soon as Laughter made a mistake, the guys were all over him, and he ended up dropping 4 spots. So I think we're in for something similar here. As soon as one guy makes a move, it's going to pretty much open up Pandora's box, and we can see guys swarming for positions, but just a matter of waiting for that to happen. Trying to see ahead of Zach Carr when we're going to catch more of the lap, more of the back markers. There you see a 4-car bunch up the road, and this is all occurring, I think, for 13th, 14th place. Angel Ronis, followed by Close, Cockrell, and David Mott. You see, wow, Close all the way up by the wall. Not the quickest way around the track.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there in turn 4. Maybe trying to get the extreme diamond line going on here. He might try that once again in turns 1 and 2. And actually, I think that's what he's trying to go for. Anyway, loose is that Cockrell, who holds on to that number 28 machine. Yes, he does. And again, he started 12th back to 15th. He is not having the best of times right now.
Ooh, and I see even Ronas up ahead a little bit sideways out of turn 4, trying to plant the throttle down. Now, if you're the leaders, you can see them slowly closing in the back of the shot. They're getting ever so close to this group. And this is, I think, the moment that a lot of the guys like Wright, Turner, and Massey are waiting for. Because once the leader catches this group, especially when they're fanning out like this across all the lanes of the track, there's no clear place to go. So we could very much see a change for the lead here as you see these guys trying to duke it out. 92 going to hit the wall just a little bit. It's actually going to help him out as he tries to get a run on Angelo Ronis. Going to rocket around the outside as Ronis respond in the inside. No, he's actually going to back off and yield to the 92.
Absolutely, and we'll see how many of these guys, of course, you know, the leader approaches. They're still fighting to stay on the lead lap. They're still fighting for their livelihood in this race. Are they going to allow Zach Carr to get on by, even though he is, you know, contending for that points lead spot and has 3 other cars directly behind him? They're still going through wide back here. Cockrell trying to send up the inside. David Mott will have to lift off there and pretty much lose any chance of getting those 2 spots that time through. And Ronis still holding station there in 14.
Yep, and now it's about to be rush hour traffic for the leaders. They got to find their way to bob and weave through the lap cars, and you see Ronis going to hit the wall. Cockrell trying to slam the door shut on David Mott right in front of leader Zach Carr. Mott's going to pull to the inside. I think he's going to let the leaders on by. He's not going to put up much of a fight as they now try to work to the inside of Ronis and Cockrell.
Down the back straightaway, looks like everybody works their way by the lap traffic. Still Clifton Cockrell to go for the leader Zach Carr. And about Angelo Ronis, I saw he won Bristol, and I don't necessarily know what happened there at Bristol for those events that happened, but I was expecting a little bit better of a run for that 29 car. Maybe there's still more to come, but going a lap down here in the first part of this race was not what I expected for the 29.
Yeah, he had a really good run of races around the middle of the season, and unfortunately he's just kind of fallen off from there. I mean, I hope he can bring something back in the later races, but yeah, back in 15, a lap down has not been a particularly good day for the number 29 machine, but Zach Carr gonna work his way through the thick of the traffic. Jeff Wright and company not really able to get a one-up, although Bailey Turner still looking close as ever, really, to the back bumper of that too.
Jeff Wright has done a phenomenal job of holding on to that second spot, and just as they say, that washes up the center of 1 and 2. Ooh. And Bailey Turner had a great opportunity there, but I think doesn't want to send it 3 wide with the lap car as well, and Clifton Cockrell still hanging tough on the outside, making this entire situation difficult for both Wright and Turner.
You know, Turner now going to have to deal with Cockrell, who's still trying to put up a fight. He doesn't want to lose out on catching Matthew Close up ahead. So he's going to try to keep on the throttle, let the leaders try to deal with him as they still trying to work past him on the inside lane. Ray Massey also going to file his way on through. Trying to take a look back at the battle further in the pack. What was going on between Casey Lacatus and Ryan Carwell. These two guys still following each other nose to tail, about 6-7 seconds back from the leaders. So they're in their own little group.
Yeah, and this is different than, of course, what we saw last week at Chicago, and being very difficult to overtake here. They are running the 725 horsepower package, less rear downforce than we have on the big spoilers at round and halves. And this is just more or less that there's no tire difference really between those two drivers in that battle, and again, still trying to force one another into a mistake to get rid of one another.
Yeah, looking at the leaders who are in a very similar situation, just waiting for one driver to make a mistake and then open the doors. Bailey Turner has been hounding the back of Jeff Wright. Wright's not been fazed by it at all, but I think for Wright, he knows if he wants to get back in this championship fight, 26 points back from Hernandez and Carr, he's going to have to try to, at the very least, I think he's going to have to try to look at getting in front of that car by the time they get to halfway, but time's starting to run out. They're closing up 15 laps from that point.
Yeah, and we'll see. People start to get desperate as they see that lap 85 number start to grow closer and closer as the laps tick up on their lap counters, on their screens. And again, Zach Carr driving away from the group of cars that did catch him. And again, has led all 70 laps in this race, 70 completed laps, and scored in all to Zach Carr since he started on the pole. A little bit of a scare there at about lap 50. Thought he was going to lose the lead. And lap traffic has since helped them open up a near second advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually helped them out quite a bit. I thought it might have been a hindrance, but he took full advantage and started to open that gap up again, similar to what it was near the start of the race. So Wright going to have to maybe put in some extra work to drive him back down, but also with Zach Carr just on the cusp of also leading the most laps. That's another bonus point going into his name. So Carr doing everything right. No pun intended there. For what he needed to do coming into this race, because last week ended up getting rear-ended by Ray Massey coming into pit lane. That was some championship implications right there. So Carr trying to make up all those lost points after finishing back in 6th or 7th, compared to Hernandez taking the win and able to move himself up. Speaking of Hernandez too, he's not had a particularly good night. All the way back in 9th place, haven't heard much of him, and again, it's not exactly what he needs, especially in the thick of a championship fight.
Exactly, and if this wasn't a track that he necessarily had circled on the calendar, he definitely needed to get a lot of time in here this week if he was going to look to really contend in this championship. And there's still a lot of time, and of course there's still time left in this race for him to turn these things around, but he needs to do a little bit more to just survive today if he's going to go toe-to-toe with Zach Carr.
Looking like a Brandon Bowers as well in the 31, trying to move up some spots. Ooh, Matthew Close and David Mata here. Scrounging about here. Mott was trying to work up the inside of the 4, but Close is gonna Mott was trying to work up the inside of the 92 of Close, but not gonna be able to get it done. Close gets back around. Not sure what happened to 92. Thought he was ahead of David Mott, but I guess something occurred, and now it's finally back ahead. Clifton Cockrell also up ahead of them in 13th.
Yeah, Matthew Close was up ahead of the leaders. We saw the 28 working so hard to stay in striking distance of the 92, and that has since, I guess, transpired and happened that Matthew Close is now really dropping down the running order, still taking that extreme diamond line. That's what I'm calling it, at least. And goes David Mott. Can he hold on to it?
Barely does. Let's go on. Let's right on board with the number 4, because that was a tank slap if I've ever seen it. This is on the back straightaway. Now I'll go right on board inside the car. Get to watch his hands work that car, because that was very close to being a caution right there. Yeah. And then almost had to go back the other way. That is a terrifying thing, having the car swing back the other way like that, but did a fantastic job keeping that car under control. Going to lose the spot in some time though to the 92.
A phenomenal job of keeping that car in one piece, because even though this is a sim, those concrete walls will hurt your car, and any performance you really have, you know, any thought of you contending in this race and trying to get any more spots would pretty much be out the window if you took a hard lick into that concrete barrier on the inside and outside of the track. And again, that spin, I think he just got a little too low out of 4 and not that much grip there when you're under the groove, and just somehow, some way was able to hold on to that thing.
Some more traffic for the leaders. There you see the 75 of Robert Gamba and the 10 of Caleb Weekly going a lap down in 10th and 11th respectively. And there's also Jeff Wright trying to get through both these guys. They're also racing side by side in front of him.
Oh man, Robert Gaba barely clears up in front of Caleb Weekly, and this is in the thick of the lead battle. Oh man, if a little closer, and this might have been very detrimental to Jeff Wright, Bailey Turner, and company.
Yeah, and Turner licking his chops in behind as well, trying to look and see there's an open opportunity, but nothing's been able to come out of the 24, and had to lose a lot. You see how much time he lost on exit there, trying to stay side by side with the 10 of Caleb Weekly as he works around him.
Yeah, these lap cars, they have been doing wonders really for Zach Carr, and not really helping out everybody else catch Zach Carr. If anything, this is, I guess, the opposite of what he expected. We are now only 2 laps away, or even less than that now, from dealing out those halfway points.
Yeah, indeed. Zach Carr looking to easily take home 10 solid bonus points to his name if he can complete the next lap and a half. Up in front of the lead, some solid bonus points to his name, and Hernandez is not going to be too happy because he's only going to get 2 if the order remains. So Zach Carr working his way on through. Jeff Wright, Turner, Massey, your top 4. Top 5 really has not changed a whole lot since the drop of the green flag. And for Zach Carr, I think is definitely a happy man to keep it that way as he comes out at turn 4. Halfway points going to the number 37. 10 bonus points to him, 9 for Jeff Wright, all the way back through 1 for Robert Gaba, who just has gone a lap down, actually still in the thick of things, trying to deal with Caleb Weekly. Weekly still looking up his inside.
Points have been dished out, and we have a car already to the pit lane. That is the 31 of Brandon Bowers, and I think that's that strategy. You know, if it's an easy one stop for everybody, when you make that pit stop, this could be a huge undercut from Brandon Bowers, especially if it goes unnoticed by his competitors.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure some guys are going to notice, and I'm curious to see who's going to be the next to come on down. I was expecting at least 2 or 3 drivers to come down immediately after the halfway points, especially once the top 10 they get their points, to come on down and get some fresh rubber. Because ideally, you work equal tires. Don't make them overwork. Try to also take a look at the pace these guys. I guess no better person to check the pace of the tire fall off compared to Zach Carr. Best lap for him was an 18.7, is running about 1.2 seconds slower than that last time by. So Bauer's looking to gain quite a bit if he can make it work. But again, we mentioned the passing is tough, so he's got to work through everyone fairly quickly if he wants to make those fresh tires work. We'll see. I guess most of the guys looking to do the overcut or just simply probably run this thing out of gas.
Yeah, absolutely, and this looks like this could be a major play into the hands of Brandon Bowers if he can get clean track and consistently run 1.2 seconds faster. If he can run Zach Carr's fastest lap time, of course. If he can run that over the course of, say, 20 laps or so, accounting for the lap time fall off after the tires aren't as fresh, he could potentially fall as the leader of this race. Then, of course, if Zach Carr is not pitted at that point, he'll have severely fresher tires than Brandon Bowers. It'll be the ebb and flow of the race, if you will, if that's how it all plays out for Brandon Bowers.
Yeah, taking a look at Brandon Bowers again, got fresh rubber to work. Let's see what he can do. Now that he's finally back out on the track, putting down some laps, you're going to see how much time he's breaking away from Jonathan Hernandez. Should be breaking away at about a lap or 2. Breaking away to 1 second per lap away from some of these guys with the fresh tires on that 31 car. All the way back in 15th and 1 lap down especially, so I think he definitely would probably not want a caution to come out because that was going to throw his strategy all off.
Right there, he ran 8 tenths faster than the leader's last lap, and now make that 7 tenths as we're still waiting for Zach Carr to come across the line as they are on opposite ends of the speedway. Here we go, looking here. This is still Weekly trying to hold off Robert Gap. He's down in 9th.
Yeah, I think actually I think Caleb Week was actually just able to get past the 75 Robert Gap. Here's just a little bit of luck of him getting clear. Was working for quite a few laps on the back of the 75 car. Ooh, and some contact off of turn 4 as well. That's why you saw a little bit of a lunge here from Gaba off into turn 1. Was trying to maybe return the favor, but ended up missing the bumper. So Wickley now going to drive away in 9th place, with Gaba in 10th, and Cockrell back up in 11th. This is a great recovery for the 28, as he was, I think, pretty much in dead last at one point, or close second to last at one point. Up in 11th. Ben Lafter also too in the 64 has mitigated some of the damage.
Right. For Cockrell, I'd imagine maybe he was on extreme tire conservation mode and is able to maybe make up all that time now. And imagine that we were inches away from our first caution of the day, almost 90 laps in, over 90 laps into this race. Robert Gaba under heavy attack from Cockrell into 1. Cockrell trying to keep it, playing it down on the inside, and here's Close trying to give way here to Brandon Bowers.
Brandon Bowers again charging through the field on his fresh rubber. No one else has come down to pit lane, believe it or not. Brandon Bowers is the only driver to make a pit stop so far. Oh, and Close still making some contact with that right side wall. That right side's probably not going to be liking him by the end of this race. Hit that wall quite a bit, trying to diamond the corner. And trying to hold off now Casey Lakatos, who's actually a lap ahead. And working his way on through. Lakatos up into 6th place, working through some traffic.
Yeah, I'd also imagine at least one of the people he was battling with would notice that he's pitted, try to follow him in, or maybe they just feel he is severely off the rails on the strategy, and it's going to take a lot to make it work. And it is. If these drivers are truly going to go maybe 40 laps longer on their current fuel tanks, this is going to be a huge strategy to play off because they'll have that much fresher tires. Here's the driver on pit lane, the 75 of Robert Gaba.
Yeah, coming down for his pit stop is also a little bit out of the box. I mean, I'm no official, but I'm pretty sure he's got one tire hanging out there, but they're still servicing the car, so I guess he's all good. Now you can see a bunch of guys trickling on down, especially there's your leader, former leader, I should say, Zach Carr in the 37. So floodgates have opened. Ryan Cardwell, Casey Lakatos, Bryce Calusa, and they see Jeff Wright. All the other leaders answering the call, and pit road has all of a sudden become a very busy place.
Maybe the fuel window was 100 laps. Everybody just had an agreement to come in on lap 100, but if this is the first lap of the race that Zach Carr will not lead as the entire field comes down for their service, and Jeff Wright pits with the race lead and several others behind.
Here's to see between this group of drivers who's going to come out on top. It was Wright, Turner, Massey on the way in. There goes Turner. Ooh, Massey, long time on the left side. It's going to hold him up quite a bit. It seems up, and Bailey Turner going to flash out as well, but gets back onto the track. And there you see side by side for the lead for just a second. Wright was so close at getting a clear of the 37 out of the pits, but wasn't quite able to get it done. He's still not done yet. I think he knows this is his best shot. He's trying to charge that 37.
If you think about it, he's got a lap fresher tires, which it doesn't mean too much at this moment, but if he can stay with it, keep the pressure on, and not burn his stuff up, he might have the advantage later. Lap car way up the track. This is Zach Carr under heavy attack for probably the first time really today, or since the drop of the green flag. Jeff Wright smells that blood in the water.
Yeah, and amazed at how much quicker Wright was able to get back out ahead. Looking at the pit road delta, looks like Wright spent 4/10 of a second less in his box compared to Zach Carr, and I think that's why it was significantly closer than I think anyone really would have expected, probably even what Wright would have expected. But great stop for him. Pit crew probably deserves a raise. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to get the lead.
They tried all they could, man. That was something. They definitely closed over a second on Zach Carr from the last time I saw the interval, and of course Jeff Wright was also able to get a lap led. If that awards a bonus,
and
point,
also
that is enough to keep in mind.
And also got a point out. Here's Brandon Bowers. He's getting passed by the 23 and Ray Massey. This worked out pretty well for him. I believe was running around 7th or 8th place before that pit stop cycle started. Did the undercut, is up into 5th. Now, again, he's under attack by a lot of guys on fresher rubber behind him, but again, seeing how relatively hard it was to pass, especially once the tires start to wear out, this might have been a pretty good call for the 31. Race winning, probably not, but definitely going to give him some track position to work with.
Right, I think he was maybe closer to 9th or 10th, but nonetheless, he's up in 5th now. Can he fend off the drivers who will have 15 to 17 lap fresher tires? And he got really spicy for the lead last lap into turn 3. They have since worked it out, but Jeff Wright had a send, not quite good enough to get up alongside the 37 down the straightaway. He'll send it again into turn 1.
Yeah, gonna use the apron, what little apron is there on the exit of pit road to try to hook the car down. Get some lane on the 37, gonna have another look there again. And my only worry with this is if Wright's pushing his car a little bit too much, burning up the tires a little bit too much, but I think at this point he doesn't care. I think he thinks he's either gonna get the lead now or never.
Absolutely. With the way the lap traffic has worked with Zach Carr, I'd imagine it's the same thing. That one lap advantage Jeff Wright has had on his tires may mean nothing at the end of this one, because Jeff Wright is absolutely trying to hit a huge send. I've done a lot of dirt racing this service. That feels like some of the sliders have had to send in there.
Yeah, almost just hit a car coming out of pit lane. We'll go for a little bit of a replay of that. Sorry, I wanted to take a look at that because that almost ended up being a caution right there. This is coming into turn 1. You can see a car exit the pits. And again, not really much of an apron. I think he got lucky that Ronas actually realized that was Angel Ronas coming out of the pits. I think Ronas realized the leaders were coming, slammed on the brakes. Here comes Wright, gonna have another look up into turn 3.
Yeah, I don't know if 1987 they had the blue lights at the end of pit lane like F1 does to signal that faster traffic's approaching, but good heads up from Ronas to not cause an accident and nearly washing up the track into the 37. Nearly. Jeff Wright will hold on to that machine, but will once again have to chase Zach Carr back down. I think Zach Carr realizes he's got the upper hand here. He's just able to defend beautifully. He's just pacing himself, letting Jeff Wright burn his stuff up.
Yeah, I think the Wright still putting the pressure though, and I think again Carr's got to be able to not fall to that, which I don't think he will, but at the same time, Wright's been making some pretty impressive moves, and I think had things gone maybe slightly different, might have been able to get a decent shot at that lead, but for now is still gonna try to bob and weave and try to have a fight with him. You're gonna take a quick look back at how Bailey Turner is doing, back in 3rd with Ray Massey further behind him in 4th. You see Jonathan Hernandez as well as first car a lap down, back in 9th place. So still not having a particularly stellar day, coming in with the points lead, but Zach Carr looking to take the points lead away and then some if he can keep this up.
Yeah, absolutely. Jonathan Hernandez, again, if they award points for leading laps, he'd stay out on that pit cycle, got himself a couple laps led, and trying to maybe play some damage control in the points he loses today, right now in 9th, and looking to try to find anything he can to get to the 20 and 8th. Jeff Wright, though, trying to chase back down Zach Carr, but I think those tires may be a little overheated. He sends it again into turn 3, though.
Yeah, he's been charging these entries very hard, but just loses a huge amount of time on the exit, and then has to spend the time overdriving the car trying to get back to his bumper. So I'm really just curious how much longer he can keep this up, and my bet is not too much longer. Although I definitely give him an award for trying. He's definitely given it his all trying to get past the 37 as clean as possible.
Absolutely. How hard he washed up the track quite a few laps ago and not made contact with Zach Carr was very remarkable and very commendable. He could have easily just washed up, wiped out Zach Carr, driven away with the race lead, but instead he wants to fight it out like a gentleman. Yeah,
I also want to share a quick look at Matthew Close, is the only driver yet to come down to the pits. I'm not sure why he stayed out this long. Back in 11th place, those tires have had 118 laps on them. And imagine they're probably screaming at him the tires are probably screaming at him to get them off the car, because I imagine they're not handling particularly good at the moment. He's currently doing 20.4s compared to leaders in the low 19s.
I can't imagine the strategy other than maybe hoping for a caution to fall out in his timing, but I don't know. Speaking of that, we've now gone, what?
120?
I don't know. Yeah, 120 laps green from the drop of the green flag. I'm trying to add the 150 from last week. That's 280 laps. I'm sorry, 270 laps straight green flag racing.
Yeah, these guys have been extremely clean in some races. Some races better than others, but this race in particular has been, the last 2 weeks have been amazing. Chicagoland I could definitely see being a race caution free from flag to flag. But North Wilkesboro short track in general is really impressive for these guys to go caution free. Is also, if I'm not mistaken, this group holds the SimTV record for most cautions, I think at 21 at Martinsville.
Well, that's not a record your series necessarily wants to hold. But if they can go green wire to wire at North Wilkesboro, you know, wash that out a little bit. Of course, they'll still hold the record, but you know, it won't sting as much. And, wow! No!
And
no!
speak of the devil, caution out for the 50 of Casey Lacatas, looping it around. Oh boy! And how the turntables? This is going to change everyone's strategy. Oh, did he have some help? Oh yeah, had some help. Not sure that was necessarily on purpose, but definitely had some assistance in being swung around there, right on the look on the back. Yeah, just got really tight. Nothing really I think the 20 could have done.
Alyssa found that rear end quite appetizing. It looked like really though, Lacatas just got really tight out of 4. Worked the checkup to not hit that wall, and of course nothing that Alyssa could have done.
Alright, that opens up the floodgates down onto pit lane. Everyone coming down, at least everyone's on the lead lap, which at this point aren't too many drivers. Gonna come on down and get service. And not too much of a change down on pit lane. Gonna be Zach Carr, Jeff Wright, Bailey Turner, Ray Massey, and Ryan Carwell, your top 5. Actually, sorry, Brandon Bowers, your top 5 is Brandon Bowers. And this strategy, again, when we talked about him, that strategy call of him doing that undercut definitely worked out in his favor. Is going to be 5th. Once it cycles out, Jonathan Hernandez, I believe, was the lucky dog. He's going to have his chance to come down to pit lane, and definitely going to be a lucky dog. Going to keep his championship hopes just that much more alive. Going to be able to come down and get some service. I imagine we're going to see most of the lap cars going to probably elect to stay out, get the wave around, so they can get back on the lead lap. But this is, I think we're going to see this race get a lot more interesting.
Absolutely. I just want to say, Matthew Close was waiting for that caution. He pitted 2 laps to shoot. Just missed it by 2 laps. That is so unfortunate.
Yeah, he's going to be all the way. And that really killed him because he was already on the back end of that straight, because he, I believe, was already a lap down, staying out. Or was just on the cusp of being about a lap down. He came in and got put 2 laps down, so that's just really gonna sting. He's probably gonna kicking himself for that. Was so close and could have stayed out. Should have been able to stay out on fuel, but imagine his tires were just probably very close to giving out and putting himself into the concrete on the outside wall. But yeah, so at least his car is still running. But again, 2 laps down, back in 16th place. So there you can see a huge string of drivers ready to take the wave around, but. Looking at our top 5, especially now that we're going to get a little bit of reset, who are you liking as far as gonna win? Who's going to win this race?
Well, fresh tires and a fresh new shot added. I think Jeff Wright has, I guess, the willpower to win this race, but can he get by Zach Carr is the next question.
Indeed, we'll see if he can get it done. I'm looking at Jeff Wright in the number 2. I think he's looking pretty strong. Even Bailey Turner, though, in the 24. I haven't seen a whole lot of noise out of him, but I think this could be the moment he's waiting for. Field gonna double up. I'm not sure if we are gonna maybe get an extra pace lap, because the pace laps are pretty short here. The field can get back and double file up. Looks like we're not gonna wait for them. We're gonna go green. Here we go. There's Zach Carr jumping on the gun. Green flag back in the air.
Clearing into turn number 3 is Jeff Wright. He looks now to see if he has any shot there at Zach Carr. And now he will be looked back behind Jeff Wright. Look at Bailey Turner, the send into 1. He can't get down there.
And Wright a little bit loose in the middle of 2 and 3. It's going to open up the door just a little bit. Turner was trying to get a good run off of 2 to maybe have a look up the inside, but not close enough. Wright looks like he's falling a little bit. Going to get very tight onto the outside, and turn 4 is not doing well on cold tires. Here comes the 24, Bailey Turner looking up the inside.
Gotta say, those cool tires not treating Jeff Wright well at all. And here comes Ray Massey up the inside to snag away a podium. Jeff Wright quickly fading out of his chances, quickly fading of winning this race.
Yeah, indeed. Here comes Massey up the inside, as you mentioned, and going to try to put that 2 back in third, but Wright going to charge the corner on entry, try to get a good run on the exit. Indeed will do so. Does he get clear of the 23 is the bigger question. No, Massey going to throw it to the inside in turn 3.
Still side by side down the front straightaway. Jeff Wright giving it his all, but Massey understands the importance of him trying to get that podium place. Still down there, and it looks like Jeff Wright will clear off of turn number 2 and try to set his sights forward back on Bailey Turner, but we saw the pace that Bailey Turner had. He was able to match Jeff Wright, can Jeff Wright find a way back by the 24 and then have a shot at Zach Carr still? I don't know. We only have 35 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, curious to see who else is going to get a little bit antsy now. You got fresh tires on these cars and not a whole lot of time to use it. Looking at Bryce Calusa in the 20 back in 7th place. Started all the way back in 14th, is up in his 7th place, moving up 7 spots tonight, trying to look if he can get one more as he's hounding the back bumper, the 31 of Bowers.
Yeah, back here, this is Bowers again in the 6th position. Calusa got caught behind via safety car, I believe. Okay, no, that was Lakatos, my bad. But Calusa, again, going around there early, trying to make something happen, or trying to make something happen with his damage number 20.
Yeah, and Jeff Wright still trying to hold off another charge from the 23 of Mass. You can see how much time they're losing to the top 2 drivers of Turner and Carr. Wright going to get one clear once again on the 23, and you'll see Ryan Carwell in the 71 just waiting in the mix. Is Carwell typically a quiet driver, usually just runs very consistent up near the front of the field, but I think just waiting for his moment to strike tonight. As Wright going to try to maybe set his sights on the leader, but Zach Carr, he restarted that perfectly, and even Bailey Turner did a great job getting one more spot to his name, up 4 spots for him in the 24 Lawn Tech machine.
So here we have a relatively short run. I mean, these drivers, they didn't know when they were going to get a caution in that first stint of the race, so they definitely took it easy on their tires. But when you restart with 40 laps to go, you have a set number in your mind, you know, half of what you're running to halfway. If you're only running the halfway and all that, they can push these tires a little bit more. I was going to say, I don't know what pace Bailey Turner has to attack Zach Carr, but if you take 40 laps out of the equation and you can push, you know, really hard for those 40 laps, who knows? Brendan Bowers under heavy attack from Calusa now.
The Red Bull Chevrolet trying to look up the inside on the exit of turn 4. You see Calusa does a great job getting the car down the inside on the exit. Not so much that time by. Bowers trying to hold him at bay, but you just really just see a whole bunch of Red Bull in his rearview mirror and trying to have a look up the inside, but nowhere to quite go for the 20 of Calusa. And it's so tempting as well. I'm sure for a lot of these drivers, it's so tempting just to throw it in a little hard to move the driver out of your way, but everyone's been very clean tonight. I gotta hand it to them again. Only that one caution interrupting the pace of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so difficult to make an overtake very cleanly around here, again, at a one-lane short track, if you will. Calusa doing his best to try to get to the inside of 31 and maybe try to get him out of his groove without making contact, but again, that's oh so difficult, and as the laps wind down, the patience wears thin.
Oh, you can see Calusa looking like he wants to throw it up the inside. The gap not quite there. Gonna barely have a look up the inside quarter panel, but not enough off of turn 2. Gonna have to try yet again, but definitely making Bowers, I imagine, a little bit nervous in front and is mounting the pressure, and I think he's just again waiting for that moment of strike, waiting for Bowers to mess up the corner.
And don't look too soon. If these two do get into it, if Calusa ends up getting tired of seeing the rear end of that 31 car, Donovan Hernandez, again, a little bit of a hole now after that halfway point giveaway, needs to gain a couple spots here to be on damage control with the points lead he's pretty much losing today. If he can get those 2 spots right in front of him, that would definitely help out.
Yeah, again, it's really, when you have these bad days, it's all about damage mitigation. That's what Hernandez needs to do, but again, easier said than done. You easily try to pass these guys up ahead, but clearly doesn't have enough pace to work around them. Is at least close enough to keep them at bay, and I think he's probably also hoping, as you said, that they get tangled and just gets 2 free easy spots like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the laps wear down, you got to be on the lookout for that. If there's any really spicy battles or battles that are spicing up near you, I'd look for them to start getting into one another with, well, we're coming around to 22 to go.
Yeah, indeed, and these guys catching lap cars, and not just really any lap cars. These guys took the waiver out, but they never got a chance to come down pit roads, so their tires are pretty shot at this point in comparison to the rest of the field. I mean, they're only got about 40, 50 laps on them, but compared to the leaders who just only have about 20 laps on them, they're going to feel significantly so. You can see how much speed, or how much time rather that car gains on corner inching compared to these guys, and we'll see if Turner maybe can try to take advantage of it. We saw last time by, a car was able to easily work through the lap traffic, but we'll see if this time is going to be the same or a little bit different here. Is car going to go to the inside of Cockrell?
Compromised exit out of 2, compromised entry into 3. We saw how hard Cockrell will race the leaders early on in this race. Turner gets by with relative ease, which that's going to be pretty much a nod in the direction for the 24 car. Closes up the gap, 20 laps to go. Can he do anything with that? A couple more lap cars up the road, and they're running about half a second slower than these guys.
Yeah, Turner's been eating a few hundredths of a second here and there, and he's gained a huge amount of time in 3 and 4 that time. And that lap alone almost made up an entire 10th, so he's been making some really good time in the 24 machine time that I didn't think he would really be able to find. But Carr starting to show some weakness here, and is going to get held up just a little bit by Gaba on corner entry. There you see the Turner of the 24 car. Turner is right there.
Absolutely, Gaba will restrict the entry for Zach Carr and Bailey Turner. They go by to 75 to both clear with 18 laps to go. And you got to think, if last week Zach Carr was the favorite to take it all at Chicagoland and had his pit road issue, and today he's dominating and here in the waning laps under heavy attack for this win, what that would do to maybe the morale of the 37 camp.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Turner's going to do in this 24 car, because Carr is riding for a championship. Bailey Turner, he's not. He's running a part-time schedule in that 24 car, so you know, who's to say he doesn't just completely try to outdrive the 37, and I'm sure Carr knows that. He's willing to take really both of them out because 24's got nothing to lose, 37's got everything to lose at this point. So I'm curious if Turner maybe might want to try to take advantage of that as he's pushing in these closing laps as they come to the line next time by. 15 laps to go.
And that is the hardest. Oh no, a very, very slow exit for Zach Carr. He has to check up for the 10 of Caleb Weekly. And again, that's a very tough decision. You're going for a race win, but you got to think big picture as well. Whoa, near contact there between Turner and Weekly.
Oh,
and he gets you some of the inside concrete, if you will.
Yeah, it's really, you can't really call it a curb. It's really just a strip of concrete on the inside, and Turner ended up, he's been riding with inches on that lane, especially in 3 and 4. Unfortunately, he mounted it and ramped off of it, lost about a 10th there. So gonna lose. You're gonna have to make all that time back up here with 14 laps to go. Still some more lap cars to work with, though. The Casey Lakatos, who was the cause of the last caution. Again, not directly his fault, but was the cause of the caution. He's gonna about to go a lap down as immediately as he got that lap back. He's gonna potentially lose it here.
Yeah, I mean, he got caught behind the safety car and just was not able to pit. I'm sure if he was able to get in front of that pace car when the caution came out, he would have obviously taken that opportunity to get 4 fresh tires. But here comes Zach Carr, and I'd imagine Lakatos is going to have too much of a fight, but he's going to at least restrict the entry for the 37, and Zach Carr will make easy work of Lakatos.
Yeah, and starting to stretch that gap back out between himself and the 24 here as the laps slowly start to wind down. Turner going to have to try to find something to see if he can try to catch back up to that 37, but is running out of options here.
Yeah, and now, I mean, once again, the lap traffic is being more beneficial to Zach Carr than it is Bailey Turner. Bailey Turner's getting essentially blocked back there in all the lap traffic. Here's Jeff Wright trying to hold on to what he's got over Ray and Massey.
Yeah, Massey mounting a pretty solid charge late in the going, I think, for Wright. This second stint has not gone to plan, went from challenging to the lead to try to hold off 4th place. Massey gonna have a great run off of turn 4, gonna throw it to the inside.
Massey trying to snag away a podium position. Jeff Wright trying to keep himself relevant in the title battle side by side through turn 3, and Carwile just behind.
Yeah, Carwell also looking his chops here if he can get one more spot before the night is over. Massey's still trying to have some work with Wright, trying to make that outside lane hold on for just 8 more laps. If he can hang in there with the 23, he's not going to give this up without a fight.
They're giving each other a lot of room for a late waning lap short track battle. That is phenomenal. Ray and Massey will get very much clear of Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright back bumped down to 4th, and Carwile, we've seen him be, clean, calm, cool, and collected all day. What will he do now with a car right in front of him, 7 to go?
Yeah, I think for him, really between both these guys, I think maybe Carwell probably be the cleaner of the two. Well, I might not try to force the issue too much, but I say that now, you never know what might happen. Especially so tempting with just one position up in front of these guys. You get that one more spot, or are you willing to move someone?
Absolutely. And if you're one of the cleanest drivers in the series, or one of the cleanest drivers at least all day, I mean, if you move someone, maybe it won't hurt as much, right?
I think that's how some people may see about to see here. Carl is definitely caught up to the back of the 2 here. He's got about 5 laps and change to work with here to try to see if he can get that 4th place spot. Also going to have Casey Lakatis stuck up in front as well as Ronas. This is going to be a little bit of a lap car jam for these guys in the midfield.
And you said rush hour traffic earlier. I live in a big city, and I feel that every day. But here we go. This is Jeff Wright, very, very low on the exit of the 2. Meanwhile, Carwile was able to use up all the track on the exit of 2. Now out of 4, he can't do so. Nearly 3 wide out of turn 4. Carwile having to give room to the lap traffic.
Yeah, Carwell is going to be kind of stuck here as Wright's on through. Carwell trying to get a decent run off the corner, but lost a huge amount of time dealing with both Ronas and Lakatis.
Way up the track, you see that 92 Matthew Close and his distinct extreme diamond line that he's trying to keep himself relevant in his battle there in 15th. He's got Ronas right there behind. That's a battle in itself as the leaders work their way by, but here comes Zach Carr.
Yeah, and finally the flag. Second, the flag is going to definitely love to see the white flag finally in the air. Doesn't have to worry about a green light checkered or a chance of this being taken away. But nothing really much to be said for the 37 as Zach Carr pretty much went out here, dominated this race, is going to lead 166 laps of 170 as he comes rounding out at turn 4. A fantastic win for the 37, win number 4 of the season, going to easily take back the points lead. Bailey Turner going to finish in second after a solid late race charge, but nothing much that could have been done there. A congratulatory bump to the 37. Ray Massey going to finish in third. Jeff Wright in fourth, with Ryan Carwell rounding out your top 5.
That is a phenomenal performance by the entire field. A very, very cleanly ran race and a very dominating performance and well-deserved victory for Zach Carr.
I imagine he's going to definitely enjoy this. Going to be lining it up down the front stretch. And there he goes, your race winner. Win number 4 of the season. Take this time to also go through the rest of your race results here. You mentioned your top 5 drivers. Looking at Brandon Bowers finishing in 6th. That strategy for the most part working out for him. I think gained 1 or 2 spots out of that. Bryce Calusa gonna finish back in 7th place. Jonathan Hernandez finishing in 8th. Casey Lakatis in 9th. And Robert Gaba finishing and rounding out your top 10. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the wrong button there. And moving on to the back half of the grid, Clifton Cockrell in the 28. Ben Laughter in the 64 is going to finish in 12th. Caleb Weekly back in 13th with David Mott 14th, and Matthew Closano Ronas, your last of the drivers that ran it out to the end, and Ricky Williams really being the only retirement of the race, as we only started with 17 drivers.
Yeah, again, a very clean race. Ricky Williams again making his debut, and was a lap vehicle. We saw him quite a lot. I think got a little bit more TV time than he intended, but didn't really cause anything today. So I'd say a fairly good debut for Ricky Williams. Didn't make any enemies in a playoff race. And again, these drivers back here, it was a struggle bus all day. Ben Laughter started way up there and back in 12th. That was not expected from where he started.
Indeed, and I'll take this time to interview some of the drivers, and going into let's see, we got Bailey Turner waiting in the rings, our 2nd place finisher. And Bailey Turner, got a copy? Bailey Turner, SimTV, you got a copy? Doesn't look like we got Bailey Turner. Not sure what the problem is for him. Waiting for a few more drivers to jump into the booth here. But some fantastic racing from North Wilkesboro. Fairly clean affair for these drivers as well. But Again, especially surprising too, considering the fact that this was a coming into. Oh, I see. Hang on, I see the problem. All right, Bailey Turner, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, hey Bailey, nice to finally get in touch with you. Not sure why that channel is muted.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, wait, we're in the race control channel? I think that might have been the issue. Hold on one second. Can you talk now?
Yeah, I got you.
Ah, okay, we were in the race control channel. That was why. All right, well, Bailey, finally glad to talk with you. Unfortunately, weren't able to quite get that first place finish, but you definitely tried for it in those later laps.
Yeah, man, I gave it everything right there, trying to Bryce was running pretty smooth line there. I got to his bumper almost a couple times, and you know, I'm not racing for points or anything over here, so it was kind of just win or nothing pretty much, but just couldn't quite get close enough to his bumper. If I could have, I would have, you know, given him a little nudge, try to get him up the racetrack a little bit, but you know, I didn't want to mess with, you know, the championship battle too much either. But it was fun racing. Just front tires fell off there after I got held up in some lap traffic and just couldn't quite get to him.
All right, well, Bailey, it was a fantastic run for you. I know you are running a part-time schedule, but can we expect to see you the last few rounds of this championship?
Hopefully. You know, as my Saturday nights clear up a little bit, I'll definitely be here and giving these guys a run for their money.
All right, well, then definitely looking forward to seeing you come back for some of the later rounds. Bailey, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
All right, moving up to our third place finish, we'll talk to Ray Massey in the 23. And Ray, a great run for you in third position. Not really too much to report from you today. I had, I think, a fairly solid race in third. Just wasn't too, I guess, I'm trying to think of the best words to put it. It wasn't overly chaotic for you, I guess is the best way to put it.
Exactly. No drama. Come to a short track and no drama in the top 5. I'll take it.
I definitely imagine you're going to take it. Well, looking at the championship fight, do you still think you got a shot with it being, I think you were 35 points coming in. I think it will expand a little bit for you, but do you think you still got a solid any chances for you coming up with the last 3 rounds?
Not with that Zach guy doing what he does. Other than that, you know, we'll hang on. And I punted him last week, didn't mean to. Totally my fault. And tried to make up today, get a top 5 and get some points back. And we'll see how it goes. A few tracks coming up I might have a chance at, so we'll see.
All right, we'll definitely see, Ray. Thanks for talking to us. Congrats on your third place finish.
All right, thank you.
No problem. And last but certainly not least, Zach Carr in the 37 getting it done once again. I think probably imagine a little bit of redemption for you, considering what happened last week at Chicagoland.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely needed the points to make up after that one, but it was a fun race. I definitely did not have the best long run car at all. I mean, I think that had to go to Bailey. I think I kind of made him use up his stuff though on that last run, allowing us to kind of get away. And the lap traffic definitely helped. And the dirty air kind of made the car a little tight when you're behind someone. But overall, it was a good race.
Yeah, and looking at the remaining rounds of this championship, again, you're arguably looking to be the favorite driver, taking the points lead with a little bit of a cushion. What's really the game plan for you these last 3 rounds?
I mean, anytime you're going for a championship, you can't aim for wins. You always have to aim for consistency. Because if you go out there and start aiming for wins, you know, you're going to start making mistakes, and then you get caught up in stuff that, you know, will end your championship. And I think that's caught some guys in the past. So I think we're going to have to go out here and just look for consistency for the next few races, and maybe we'll come home with that championship.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it done. Again, 4 wins so far. I think you maybe definitely due for one more here with 3 races remaining, but we'll see what happens. Zach, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you so much.
All right, and that's going to round out our drivers for interviews here, but Zach Carr, win number 4. One of only 3 drivers to win multiple rounds this season after having, I think, 10 or so different winners throughout this season. But a fantastic job, and pretty much him just going out there and putting on a clinic.
Yeah, absolutely. It was quite the show, and again, a much cleaner race than I anticipated. And I'm very glad that it was, because we got to see a lot of great racing today. We did get to see some tire strategy be played. Again, the wild strategy that Brandon Bowers played, it worked out for a 6th place finish.
Indeed it did. Well, that's going to be wrapping out our coverage here of round 17 at North Wilkesboro. We still got 3 races to end the season coming up over the next 3 weeks. We head to Nashville, which is going to be a bit of an unknown for a lot of these drivers with each other. And also looking forward to seeing how the track races. I've not really watched any racing from that track in the sim so far, so that's going to be fun to watch. Then we head to Dover on July 24th, And rounding out the season, we're heading to Darlington. This is definitely going to be an interesting track for a season finale. Some 3 tough tracks coming up for these drivers on the schedule, and looking forward to seeing them get it done. But for now, my name is Finny Kuna here with Emerson Arden. I'll be rounding out tonight's coverage from SimTV. Thank you for watching.